For episode 18 of the World Triathlon podcast, we catch up with the Netherlands Maya Kingma. The 25-year-old scored a first podium finish at the Karlovy Vary World Cup in early September, following up on a sixth place finish at the WTS Hamburg World Championships. Maya, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Watching on Triathlon Live, it was clearly a very emotional moment for you down the blue carpet in Karlovy Vary, knowing that first podium was yours.
Yes, that's true. I worked like many years for it, of course, and always dreamed about like how I would respond if I would finish on a podium. And actually, never before the race I think about that. But at that moment, it was really special.
Quite nice to be able to do it without too much pressure behind you, right? I mean, you'd put in a great run, and you were able to enjoy the moment a little bit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think in Hamburg it was the first time that I really knew that I could like come close to a podium. I never raced like that before, and it's a really different type of racing because normally I race to not being taken over by too many fast runners. As normally I'm a good swimmer and good on the bike, but my run wasn't that stable normally. So in Hamburg, it was the first time that I was like, okay, I think this top six is gonna happen. And before Karlovy Vary, I know like, okay, the top six, I can do that. So maybe I should look more to maybe the podium. But only when I saw like, okay, I have like indeed a lot of time behind me now for the third place, I felt a bit safe. I felt comfortable, but during the whole race, I definitely wasn't sure about that. And still maybe a bit too much looking backwards, like, would I be able to hold this spot?
Well, and it's a long race as well, right? I mean, it was well over 2 hours and only the second proper race back. So that must have been taking a toll on that tough course as well.
Yeah, it did. But I was really happy with this race. I never raced it before. But I heard from all the Dutch athletes and of course all other athletes that it was a very tough course. And I just thought, okay, I worked a lot on my cycling and improved my running this year. So let's just see. And from the start of the swim, it was like a bit of a fight, sadly. So I didn't like had my swim like I had before. So that was a bit tough as well. On the second lap, I could close some gaps, and then I thought, okay, this race is just gonna be keep fighting and keep looking at the front and never look back again. And that's what I did during the bike section. And only in the last lap on the bike, I felt like, oh yeah, right. So we still have 10K run after this. But I tried not to think about that. I felt strong on the bike, and especially because the course was tough, I knew that if I was suffering, probably the other girls would be suffering as well, and that would be maybe a benefit for me.
What's your policy on the swim there? Then are you a stick as tight to the buoy as possible on the corner, or give it a bit more room? Or I mean, obviously, like you said, it's one of the strongest parts traditionally of your racing. So presumably, more often than not, you're kind of out of most of the trouble, are you?
Yeah, normally I am, but with a wetsuit swim, it closes the gaps. Like I'm really a swimmer on technique, so I'm not like I don't have a lot of strength, and I know I could work on that, but yeah, for some reason I don't really like that. I think swimming is a very technical sport, and when you are in a wetsuit, that like disappears for a bit. And I think you have to be more strong if you want to swim good in a wetsuit. And of course, I think everyone knows that like less swimmer has more benefit from a wetsuit swim. And well, my wetsuit swim wasn't good in Hamburg. It wasn't neither. So normally I would try to give some space to the other fast swimmers. So I would not stand next to them or close to them, so we can all go our own way. But now with the wetsuit swim, I knew probably it's gonna be one big bag at least at the first buoy. So I try to be on the inner corner. Yes. but that's a lot of fighting, sadly.
Yeah, a lot of people wanting to be in that spot.
Yes, exactly.
So actually, your time in Karlovy Vary, the winning time was 4 minutes faster than it was in 2019, and your finishing time was 2 minutes faster than the winner, and that was in similar conditions.
Yeah.
Uh, so, I mean, obviously, virtue of that field as well, having people like Flora to work with on the bike is always going to be a special place, a special pack to be in, presumably.
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah, I think before the race, I looked up, of course, like the course and tried to see if I could find any data of the years before. And I saw, of course, there's a steep hill and it's pretty technical. And yeah, I prepared for that, and I knew it's probably gonna be a hard bike ride, and I actually like that. So that's what I made of it as well. So my spot after the swim wasn't that good, so I just from the beginning I pushed, and at the moment I came with Georgia Taylor Brown on the bike, and I think we both worked together pretty hard to catch the group of Flora. And after that we worked, yeah, I would say mostly with us three. Um, yeah, to keep it tough, and that was also my plan to just keep pushing.
Yeah, in your years so far of elite level racing, how does it compare out there at the moment when you've got Georgia and Jess doing really well, Katie obviously so strong last year, Flora back to her best?
Yeah, it's really nice. I know those girls, of course, a pretty long time already, and I know when I only raced the European Cups, there was Jessica with Lucy Hall, and they were like dominating all those races by a very fast swim, amazingly fast transition, and then just pushing on the bike. And I remember pretty good that that was my goal at the time. I just thought, okay, swimming, I'm done, I'm with them. But after that transition, I already lost them. So that's what I worked on. I think like 3 years ago, that was my biggest goal, to be able to join them on the bike. And yeah, it worked out well, apparently.
um, Lucy Hall, you mentioned Lucy Hall. You had a good battle with her in a virtual race as well a couple of months ago, right?
Yes, yes.
How did all that work out for you?
I was really happy I was invited. So it was the Super League e-racing,
Yeah.
and yeah, of course, every athlete was like in a bit of a no racing period, and that was for me, of course, as well. And 2 months of no swimming, and I decided I would like focus on what I could do. So I focused on cycling and a bit of running. Although I have to be careful with how much I run, but I wanted to see if I could improve it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the invitation came for the Super League e-races, and I never raced before on Swift. So within a week, I tried to prepare myself for that.
All right.
And yeah, I really liked it. At first, I heard like different stories about it. Some people said, "Oh, it's not like re-racing," and others were like very enthusiastic. And I was as well, actually, because of course it's different. You have to know how Swift works, so there are some tips and tricks you have to know.
Oh yeah. Go on then, share some.
Yeah, well, you should just Google it, but it's pretty easy. But for example, if you ride in a group, there is a draft,
Right.
and it takes some practice to find that draft, because if you cannot feel it, so you have to look like at the screen. If you're pedaling maybe like 10 or 20 watts too much, you're slowly going to the front.
Okay, so
So
you're actually kind of watching. Are you looking at the watts that other riders are doing and sort of trying to match that then?
no, I try to look at the group,
Right.
because yeah, otherwise I have to like constantly look at the numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually you're really trying to maybe move a bit in the group. So if you're like, for example, you're riding 200 watts, and then you see that you're like slowly going to the back, then at the end of the group, I just give 3 more pedals of a bit more power, and then you're at the front of the group again, and then you can ease a bit again, and that makes it a bit more comfortable to ride. But yeah, it took some practice, as
Yeah.
well as the
You,
super tuck, like in the downhill, if you go like above a certain speed, and you can like just not move your legs anymore, and then you're still gonna be in the group because the driver is going like super aerodynamic on the bike, and that saves a lot of energy.
And how did you get on in the arena games with those treadmills as well?
Yeah, well, that was a bit of a different story. No, they activated the super draft on the double draft on Swift. So they thought like beforehand it would make the tactics a bit more important, but I think it filtered the tactics completely out. Because even if you tried to escape or something on the bike, everyone would be able to hang on because there was a double draft. So yeah, I did not really like that, but I really like to be able to race. And I just returned from the south of France, like the day before. I had my first altitude training camp. I never did that before.
Who
So
was that with?
just with my boyfriend.
Right.
Yeah, so it was the really first time, and I just wanted to try it because this year we have time to try things. I thought, okay, well, Arena Games will be a nice test event, and maybe I will be good in Hamburg 3 weeks after that. But I didn't have any treadmill to run on there, and I never ran on it before, so that was a bit tough. And Super League racing, I never did that before either. It was really cool, and I learned a lot, the transitions and how you should keep the pace. Sometimes I was like, oh, I'm never gonna make that up again, and then apparently I could make it up again. So I learned there to keep fighting, actually. Yes.
And to keep switched on, right? There's an awful lot to keep thinking about, it looked like.
Yes, true. Yeah, exactly. That was, I think, the most nerves before that race was, oh, all right, so first we're gonna do that, and we're gonna do that, and it's a swim in the pool, and have the tumble turns, and you have
Yeah.
to push the button, and then you have to go there and there. So it was, it was a nice challenge.
So sorry, did you say, have you got a kind of recurrent injury that is impacting your running?
Not at the moment, but as I said, I started as a swimmer, and when I was around 14 years, I did a run bike run across duathlon, and I was still a swimmer, but I won the Dutch national championships for juniors on that cross duathlon, and then I got an invitation from the Triathlon Union if I would try triathlon, as I was multiple Dutch champion in swimming as well. And that's when I started. But yeah, if you never run before and you were from a swimming background, you just have to be careful. And I think the coaches I got at that moment, they weren't that careful. So I did too much of running and probably with too much speed. And yeah, that impacted me for like the first 7 years of my triathlon career. So yes, I had a lot of injuries. It impacted a lot of me, and I think the biggest improvement for me this year and turning out in those races this year is that I was able to run for like a year for the first time in my life.
Wow.
And I think for me that was the biggest improvement.
Do you think that's something that you're getting on top of then? So do you expect, obviously you hope, but do you expect it over the next couple of years to become less of a issue?
Yes, I hope so. Yes, I know my body more and more, and I know that when I feel it, I shouldn't push through, then I shouldn't do that, even though my coach would say you should. And I'm very lucky to have a good coach at the moment and some advisors for my run, bike, and swim who who know me very well as well. So yeah, I think I built a good team around me now, and I don't think it will happen that often and that like with those big injuries I had before.
How were you feeling after Karlovy? Did it take longer than usual, the recovery process, or?
Actually not. I felt like great.
Yeah.
The day after we had I traveled back with another Dutch athlete back to the Netherlands by car, and Yeah, it was actually pretty good. I was really surprised about that. My coach as well. I think after Hamburg, the individual race, my legs were still fine as well. Only after the relay, they were pretty tired. I think I had a lot of muscle soreness after the relay. But
Mm.
apparently the bit longer and a bit slower intensities I'm getting used to. So
Yeah,
that's really nice.
and a bit more medal in your pocket. Maybe that's the secret, right?
That definitely helps, yes.
So it was a road trip back home after Karlovy Vary, was it?
Yes, it was.
Who were you with? How long was the drive?
I was with Rani Skrabanya.
Uh-huh.
So we had an apartment together in Karlovy Vary, and I think it's like a 7 hour ride, so it's okay. We took the whole day for it. I had a nice German lunch, so it was good.
Love yeah, it doesn't seem like sitting in a car for 7 hours after doing that course is probably a particularly good idea. But I suppose it kind of comes with the territory, right? There's nothing unusual about that for you guys having to travel long distance.
No, no, definitely not. No, but in Hamburg, I decided to stay. So normally some of the athletes traveled back on Sunday after the relay,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided to just relax, do a cool down on the bike, and have a good dinner, and only return the day after that. Um,
I
and
see.
we
You didn't go straight to Karlovy Vary from Hamburg.
Yeah, we could have, but I was still graduating. Well, yeah, I tried to graduate. I
Ah,
did, and it was my birthday the day after, so I wanted to be home. We had time for that, so
oh
yeah.
right. So what you got your exam results and stuff, or
Yeah, actually on the morning of Calipari. So yeah, we just had breakfast, and I checked my email, and I got an email that my master thesis was examined, and I got an 8 for of both my professors. So
wow,
yeah, I was really happy with that.
that's the kind of news you want on the morning of a race, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. So I called my parents and I said, "Oh wow, well, guys, I graduated." So yeah, the day can't get worse anymore.
Yeah. Well, no wonder you were feeling no pain on Monday. What was the thesis in?
Sorry.
What was the thesis in? Your was
Ah, I developed a brain-computer interface.
mm,
That's like a mechanism you can kind of read a person's mind, and then connect that mind reading to a computer, and that computer can do stuff. So for some people who might lose their arm or something, you can try to make a robotic arm, and they can try to control it with their brain. But I made a checkerboard game, like I think everyone knows that game,
yeah.
and adapted to be played on a computer screen, just simply with yeah, thinking different stuff in your mind. So you try to measure those brain activity in order to see what token a participant would try to move.
Wow.
Yeah.
And presumably, you know, if you've done a thesis in that kind of thing, then you become fairly blasé about it. But that sort of thing always kind of blows my mind. Where do you start with trying to read someone in the simplest possible terms? Where do you start in terms of trying to read someone's mind with a computer?
Well, you start with how you want to measure it. So in the brain, of course, we have a blood flow. So if a certain part of your brain is active, there goes a lot of blood with new oxygen,
Mhm.
and that's what I measured with this brain-computer interface. So I measured the difference in oxygen in a certain area of the brain. And it's pretty simple actually. If you imagine that you're moving your arm, for example, or you imagine that you're playing tennis or that you're running, there's like a motor cortex that's getting active. And
Right.
if you measure that cortex, you will see that there's like an increase of oxygen and blood flow. And then you know, oh, this person is like trying to imagine something being active with his or her body. So that's one way you could do it. But you can also do like inner singing, so that you're imagining that you're singing,
Yeah.
and it will activate a different brain area.
Okay. So if my hands are still by my side, but in my head I'm thinking I'm flapping my arms around, then that would be enough of a trigger.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, normally it would. Yes.
Okay.
That's why I think imagination before your race also works. Like if you're trying to imagine how you will do your race, or how you want to, if you're working on a technical issue in your swimming stroke or whatever, you can like try to imagine how you want to enter the water with your hand or whatever, and that's really activates the motor area in your brain.
Right. Yeah, Katie Zaferes is a big follower of the sort of visualization side of racing.
Yes,
Is
exactly.
that
Yeah.
something you practice as well then?
Yes, I always try to do that. Yes.
Yeah. So what's next for that side of your life? The brain monitoring and
Well, I'm very happy that I finished sixth on the World Championships in Hamburg, and for me in the Netherlands, that means that I get a minimum wage. So I will be able to pay my bills for the next year probably. So yes, I'm really happy with that. I can say I'm a professional athlete now. Yes,
yeah.
yeah. So I will try for this year to for the next year to focus on sport. And well, I need something to set my mind on. So I will definitely try to see if there's something I want to learn, or still do some coaching, or whatever. I want to do something next to it.
Mhm.
But it won't be studying anymore.
So you've got room to take on something else. Have you got a little like hit list of things that you're thinking about or
Um, yeah, I've got some small things, not the big things. I want to focus on my sponsors with in the triathlon.
yeah.
So as I said, I did a lot of yeah, I built up quite a student loan during my studying and triathlon.
Mhm.
So now I have a minimum wage. So I yeah, for triathlon it's an expensive sport. So I will try to focus on how I can get a good bike and new wetsuits and all
Mhm.
that stuff. So I will have a bit more time for that now. So that's on my to-do list at first.
Yeah.
And some reading, definitely. Just good books. I like that.
Nice. Did I not see on your Instagram that you've got a new TT bike for you've got a big race this weekend, right?
Yeah, I can borrow this bike, so it's not mine.
Okay.
But I'm really happy that I can borrow it for the 2 weeks. So I'm
Yeah. So just tell our listeners what and why.
Yes, definitely. So before the races from Karlovy Vary and Hamburg were like sure going to happen, I didn't know if any racing was gonna happen. So when I heard there was an Ironman organized Olympic distance in Maastricht, that's where I live, in the south of the Netherlands, I felt like okay, that would be a nice goal. And if there is not going to be any other racing, it would be really nice to have some Olympic distance racing. But it's an Ironman, yeah, organized race, so it's a non drafting race.
Mhm.
So that's really new, as is the time trial bike.
Mhm.
But it will be over an Olympic distance, so that's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the non-drafting is completely new. But it's really nice to end the season with just this race.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to kind of keep your focus about the whole non-drafting situation.
Yes, yes, probably.
Thinking about
Yes, yeah, and getting adjusted on the TT bike, because yeah, it's completely different from a normal race bike, of course.
yeah.
And having to pace myself during the race, that will be a nice challenge.
How yeah that kind of riding position being so different. How are you getting on with that?
I did at first a bike fit. So there's yeah, called Cycling Lab. It's here in Maastricht, and they also help me with getting a good position on my normal race bike. So that's also where I worked on this year pretty much. So that's the first place I went to get a pretty comfortable but also aerodynamic position on the bike. And then I just did 3 times, like half an hour easy rides, trying not to be too scared about being so much to the front, and pretty high and a low front. So but I really like the challenge. And last weekend I tried the first time to do some tempos on it. And it's pretty cool. But
Pretty fast.
sorry.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, pretty fast indeed. But the only thing is, like, I'm riding in the Netherlands, and we have like some bike paths, but there are a lot of other cyclists on it. So it's trying to like okay, it's still comfortable to be like with my both hands to each other and not being able to brake at any moment. So there was a challenge, but this Sunday I will race, and then we have space on the course with no other traffic, so that should be fine.
Yeah, nice. Any other like familiar faces doing the race? Any of your kind of Dutch compatriots or anything?
Well, we have Sophie van der Most. She's a duathlon mostly. She does duathlons. And Sarissa de Vries. She was a Dutch ITU athlete as well.
Yeah.
I think she finished second in the under 23 race in Auckland. But she's more focusing on long distance now. But she will probably be racing as well this Sunday. So, and I trained with her also quite a lot. Went with her on a training camp in Landsroad beginning of this year. So it's really nice to race her again.
And are there any how is the Dutch triathlon kind of landscape at the moment, just in terms of thinking about the mixed relay team and so on as well? Obviously, you've been racing alongside Rachel Klammer for a long time, and you've got Jorik van Egdom and Marco van der Stel there. So how do you feel about your chances for Tokyo and beyond?
We really hope to qualify. Of course, everything is a bit unsure at the moment, because at the beginning of this year we thought, okay, we're in the top 7 of the Olympic ranking with the team relay. So we have to have a good race in Abu Dhabi, and maybe we will stay there in the top 7. But now it's unsure. I have, to be honest, no idea how the qualification is going to be like. But yeah, of course, Rachel's a very good athlete, and Marco and Jorik are trying their best, and the whole team is. So we really try and hope we will be able to qualify for the Olympics with the team. That would be really nice.
Yeah, we're continuing our campaign to get good team names for all the mixed relay squads. Is it something you've ever talked about as a team, or had any ideas about? A nice little nickname that would look good on the back of a t-shirt or something.
Oh, that would be actually pretty nice. I don't think we talked about that. But if I have to think about it now, like in the Netherlands we have a lion as a symbol for the Netherlands.
Oh yeah.
A lot of teams are called the Lions, and probably I would call us like the mini Lions, like maybe the Cubs or something, because we're still trying to improve. We're a pretty young team still. Like, I'm 25, just turned 25. Jorik is 25. Mark is just 2 years older or something. So I think we still have some space to develop, and so I will call us the Cubs probably. Nice. But I will have to talk with them if they're okay with that.
If they just, they might not think it's kind of intimidating enough. But
probably not. But we can grow into that, right?
Exactly.
Like going from a Cub to a Lion, that would be pretty cool.
Totally. There's that room for progress there. I like it. I like your thinking. Great. Well, thank you, Maya. It's been great to talk to you. Really appreciate you taking the time, and best of luck with the non-drafting of the weekend.
Many thanks.
And from there, it's just, and then that's the end of your year, is it, as far as racing is concerned, and we'll see what the future holds.
Yes. I will just have one team relay race with my Dutch student team, actually, but that's really for fun. Just gather up together, because I think it's really nice to enjoy it as well. And then we'll have a resting period and build up. Just pretend there's gonna be a normal 2021 season, and then we will see how our racing will be next year.
Yeah, we can but hope, huh?
Exactly.
Great. All right. Well, thanks ever so much, Maya. Take care.
Thank you too.
Our thanks again to Maya for coming on the podcast, and we'll be back in early October with plenty to talk about, including the return to racing with the Azucena World Cup on the 10th of October. You can watch on Triathlon Live. The Alejandra Paratriathlon World Cup takes place the same day, while the Valencia World Cup has been confirmed for the weekend of the 7th of November. Thanks for listening.